Pre-retirees and retirees have been telling us how the recession has been hitting them particularly hard. On today's show, we'll share some parts of our system that will help soften that blow.
And now, the Wealth Training Academy. Your retirement questions are answered here.
Shielding and protecting and growing the money that you've worked so hard for.
Ed Storer offers turnkey retirement solutions under one roof.
We handle every aspect of a person's finances.
The Wealth Training Academy with Ed Storer.
Welcome into the Wealth Training Academy. Consumer Advocate Dave Perkins here talking with Ed Storer. Ed is the shield of the wealth coach and helping people in the Greenville area for many years setting up a good retirement plan, a solid retirement plan, a great retirement plan, which you can learn more at wealthtrainingacademy.com. Ed, he talks about he employs a financial wealth management system there. He and his team, too, integrating tax, investments, insurance, estate planning all together. It's the Financial Wealth Shield, which we'll talk about, of course, throughout the show. Hello, Ed. Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Doing great. Easing out of what we've been in, the weird, surreal, horrible situation we've been in. Hopefully easing out of it at least. And of course, it generated market volatility, unnerving investors of any age, but particularly those entering retirement. And while market swings can leave you feeling powerless, Ed has some information on some ways you can be in control. We've got 5 ways at least here to maintain control of your retirement security. This first one may not be the most popular, Ed, but work longer. It's an option.
Yeah, working longer. No one wants to talk about that. One of the things that we kind of run into is maybe you do need to work longer, but maybe you don't need to work longer at that job that you currently have.
Yeah, good
maybe
point.
You want to work at something else. But here's the thing. Health problems sometimes get into the situation. Corporates, I mean, look, we're facing that now. A lot of corporations are doing downsizing, forcing people into retirement earlier than they ever really expected. But you can expand that work and take it into another position. Maybe you finally take your hobby and turn it into a business. Maybe you decide, say, I've put enough away for retirement over here. I really don't want to work on this one or be stressed. I basically want to maybe move over and, I don't know, work at Home Depot. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But you really have to look at how long your money is going to last, the time that you're going to need the money to grow. And also by working longer, you can potentially offset or postpone some Social Security, giving a higher benefit down the road because, as we've talked about before, Social Security designed correctly can be one of your biggest assets that you'll have in retirement. So yeah, working longer sometimes makes sense.
Right, and it could be, as you said, something different that maybe you enjoy even more, and you have a bigger sense of freedom in that too.
Control the controllables, right? Yeah, well, we can't control this market going up and down, but we can control how long we work and where we work and how we want to work.
Exactly. And then when the recovery hits, if you may like the job, you can continue to work in retirement. The great thing about work, you're choosing to work in retirement, is that if you get a little annoyed, you can always just thumb your nose and say, I'm out of here. Guaranteed income, of course, you do have some control over that, especially if you work with Ed and his team and employ the Financial Wealth Shield. It's part of it.
Yeah, look, first and foremost, one of the things that we talk about controlling is your income. You need to create that income that will definitely cover your basic needs and living expenses. That shouldn't be anything that is overlooked and should not be guessed at. Taking into consideration Social Security, looking at your pension programs, designing and figuring out your pension programs. Not all pension programs are the same, especially now with interest rates changing. I know this may be a surprise to some folks, but your pension income can change based off of interest rates and how they calculate it. So looking at your guaranteed income, such as Social Security, pensions, and if you don't have a pension, creating a pension for yourself, especially creating that guaranteed income first and foremost to cover those expenses that you're going to have in retirement. You must look at those, and you can control that. You can control that. You can control your spending. Look, now may not be the time to go out and buy the extra boat. Now may not be the time to go and get that second home in the mountains or at the lake.
Right.
Control what you spend. Therefore, you can then control your income. We don't all need to have 14 subscriptions to Netflix and Hulu's and everything else, and then cable on top of that.
Right.
Look at, as we always say here, start with the budget first and foremost. Look at the budget, and nobody likes to talk about this. I was literally in a meeting yesterday, and I was asking somebody, and I'm not going to mention names or anything, but I was asking them, I said, what kind of budget do you have? And they looked at me like I was crazy.
What?
And going, budget? I haven't budgeted in I don't know how many years.
Wow.
And I went, wow, okay, you do have a budget. You just don't know that you have a budget.
You have incoming and outgoing.
Of income over here. Yeah. Well, see, the thing is they had plenty of guaranteed income to cover their expenses that they never budgeted.
Okay.
And then I pointed out, I said, well, you do have a budget then, because if you spent over that, then we'd have a problem. She goes, well, we have a buffer for that. And yes, guess what? We talked about it before. What's a buffer that everybody should have?
The old emergency bucket, the cash buffer.
The cash bucket, absolutely. Look, it's essential to have a cash bucket up front for at least 2 years if you do not have guaranteed income coming in to cover your needs. Also, that guaranteed income that you have coming in better be increasing for inflation. And please don't tell me there is no inflation.
Oh, no. Outside of gas prices, there is.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, have you looked at the price of milk?
Yeah.
Have you looked at the price of butter? There's inflation, and those staples continuously go up because the cost of living goes up because everybody wants pay raises. So you have to keep that cash bucket there for you to offset the different times that you overspend in your budgeting per month, because everybody does that. I mean, come on. Everybody has, oops, I went over my budget this month.
Yeah, things come up.
Yeah, well, things come up big time. Well, one of the things that are coming up right now, everybody's seeing and getting hit with is, well, taxes. Mm-hmm. You know, you've got to, first and foremost, get the guaranteed income, get the budget correct, and then in retirement, one of your biggest expenses is taxes.
And you have some control there too, right, though, Ed?
You got control over the taxes. That's exact. It's amazing the people that just will use in retirement, use a TurboTax or a tax preparer and just let them put the little numbers in the little boxes. There's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. But in retirement, you have to have a plan. You have to look at retirement like a business. And every great, stable, successful business has a plan and a system to execute that plan. And don't you want to have a successful, stable retirement? A system that tracks all your finances, your taxes, your investments, your insurance, and your estate planning? Well, tax planning is the biggest thing that you can control, and it's one of the most important things that you need to look at. And that's why we have the system. We have our financial wealth management system. And, for the next 10 callers, we're going to do this. For the next 10 callers right now, we're going to take you and show you our financial wealth system. You need to look at your taxes, your investments, your insurance, and your estate planning. We will do an evaluation for free. We've seen people charge as much as $1,000 in Greenville area for this. But we will look at your taxes, your investments, your insurance, and your estate planning. We'll look at the costs, the hidden fees, the commissions that are built up in all these products that you guys have. And we'll do an evaluation. We'll show you where you're at, where you could be, and we'll do that for free for the next 10 callers.
That is incredible, and that's using the Financial Wealth Shield. If you think of your retirement as your business, will certainly, of course, make you the CEO, but then make Ed's team your management team of your business. And they do have the financial wealth management system that integrates everything, all the components of retirement and income, of course, in there: protection, tax, investments, insurance, Medicare, estate planning. And really, that all comes under the umbrella of the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. That's the number to call. 800-563-7030. And as Ed said, next 10 callers, this evaluation at no cost or obligation. It's going to be looking at everything: taxes, estate planning, insurance, any hidden fees you may be paying and not even aware that you're paying. This can be very eye-opening, and it's offered to the next 10 at no cost or obligation. 800-563-7030 is the number to call. And then someone, Ed, or someone from his team will get in touch with you and set up this consultation. 800-563-7030. It's a comprehensive consultation. It's an evaluation at no cost or obligation to the next 10 callers from Ed Storr, who is the president of the Wealth Training Academy, a very turnkey firm with tax, investments, insurance, Medicare, estate planning, all in the same office. And they can custom build a retirement plan for you, handcraft a very holistic retirement plan for you. And this is a great day, a great time to start. If you call now, leave your information. Someone gets in touch with you very soon to set this up. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030 for Ed Storr and his team at the Wealth Training Academy, which just so happens to be the name of this show, where Ed and I have a great conversation and bring you along into it every week. And there's much more to come. We're actually just getting started here, Ed. What's coming up in the next segment?
Well, we talked about things that we need to control. We can control how we look at our 401k. When we come back, we're going to talk about some things you need to look at in your 401k through this recession that we're in today.
He's letting the clock run out on his Social Security to age 70 for maximum benefits. And here comes the Roth conversion. He's locked in for income for life. He's got some outstanding coaching with that annuity plan. He's created his own pension as well, and it looks like he's going to go all the way.
Play your best retirement game. Call Ed Storr and the team at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. Ed Storr, 800-563-7030. Welcome back. It's the Wealth Training Academy, talking with Ed Storr, president of the Wealth Training Academy. Ed has 29 years experience in the financial industry, and you can think of Ed and his team really as your shield. Ed as your wealth coach, employing the Financial Wealth Shield, which you can learn more about. In fact, you can learn more about it at their website, wealthtrainingacademy.com, and you can submit any questions you may have that we may just read on the show at wealthtrainingacademy.com. Just bump off the when you go on the website, wealthtrainingacademy.com. Click on the contact tab, and it's really easy to submit your question. Well, how will a recession affect your 401k? The economic paralysis coupled with last month's market sell-off has pushed the U.S. into a slump. Some financial experts even say this downturn resembles depression-like levels, especially on the unemployment claims. But don't despair. Ed and his team have tips to help you weather this expletive-deleted storm. And that's what that's what we're going to talk about in this segment, how to delete the storm. Pay attention to asset allocation, obviously, or have Ed and his team help you do that.
The shiitake storm, right?
Exactly.
Well, the thing that we need to look at within our 401k and this is really pretty much for the pre-retirees. First off, you need to be following your 401k, really understand your 401k 5 years before you're ready to retire. You need to understand the asset allocation. And the beautiful thing is with our system, we can actually take your 401k and plug it into our system and help you see everything that's going on in it. Show you the hidden fees and commissions that are even built up with inside your 401k, and particularly the allocation, as we talked about, of the 401k. Here's the thing. I know with the market being down and kind of volatile, sometimes investors want to take their 401k and particularly reposition it to bonds. That actually could be a big no-no. Especially going on with interest rates right now. All the interest rates are down. Bonds are actually probably one of the most volatile investments you can be in. And yes, here's the crazy thing. Everybody's going, wait a second, I thought bonds were secure.
Uh-huh.
If you own an individual bond, they are secure. But if you own bond mutual funds, they're just as risky as individual stocks and or the mutual fund stocks. So focusing on your asset allocation as you retire or as you start to near to retire is very important. The younger you are, you really want to take this opportunity in the market and buy low. You really want to start structuring probably more aggressively because you have time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you're older, you don't have that time. And you need to make sure that you structure and design your 401k for the positioning of when you're going to start taking money out. There's two times in our life. There's accumulation and there's distribution.
Mm-hmm.
And every business owner knows this. Every retiree should be looking at their retirement as a business, and I've said this more than once. This is you're the business owner of your retirement plan. So asset allocation within the 401k is extremely important based on your age, your time, and when you're going to retire.
Yeah, I mean, that really makes it where those in the financial red zone really benefit from getting with you. They're a few years from retirement, still working towards it, and having your team really there, being proactive, ready to launch that retirement. We're talking about your 401k in this segment and some tips from Ed Storer and his team at the Wealth Training Academy on how to weather the storm. By the way, you can reach Ed at 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. Well, Ed, I know your advice would be, if you can, certainly maintain that pace on contributions then.
How much you put into a 401k during a recession sometimes actually is a struggle for the worker and wanting to continue to participate in the 401k. In a down market, you're actually buying your investments cheaper. And who doesn't want cheaper?
Right.
Look, Amazon is still a great company. Just because it's low, it is still a great company. It's not going anywhere. Actually, it's getting bigger. Walmart is a great company. It's still getting bigger. So it just happens to be on sale. So if we wanted to buy an item and we liked that item, but it was 25 or 30% off, hey, what a deal. Same thing with your 401k. You need to be contributing to that 401k. If you're younger, you should be maxing out that 401k as much as possible. If you're older, you need to reevaluate on, do I put money into the Roth? Do I put money into the pre-tax? Do I put more money in up and beyond the matching? So it's a little different for the older investor than it is the younger investor. But again, we're focusing on pre-retirees and retirees today. You need to look at the long-term investment approach in considering how much you put into your 401k. And that's, again, what our system can help you do. Find out exactly what you need to be putting away and how much you need to contribute. So, it's a great opportunity.
Let's say one of your clients comes to you, and maybe they're still in the financial red zone, and they say, Ed, I'm looking at withdrawal. What do you tell them or ask them first?
Well, first I say, let's make sure we don't jump the gun on that. Continue to invest in the 401k as a pre-tax advantage. Okay, we get to utilize pre-tax dollars depending on your income. That can help tremendously in your tax world, but you need to make sure that you calculate how this is going to affect you on the withdrawals. It's better to understand the idea of taking a withdrawal or potentially taking a loan, because with COVID-19 and what's going on, I can't say that word today, the CARES Act has changed the opportunities on loans and withdrawals through the 401k.
Yeah.
So understanding when to take it is very important. Understanding, should I take a loan or should I take a distribution from my 401k is a big decision. That's why we're saying don't jump the gun. Understand where you need to do that, and taking into consideration the whole big picture of your 401k.
That's right.
It's a strategy that you've got to look at. It's something that is important because, again, looking at it through a full wealth plan that deals with your taxes, investments, insurance, and estate planning is going to affect everything. So if you just arbitrarily just took money out, that could throw you into a higher tax bracket and cause tremendous strain on your actual income that you're taking home. It's all connected. That's why looking at the larger and bigger picture of the 401k is very important. And understand, do you even need the money?
Right.
We talked about in the earlier segment on understanding your costs and expenses. It's very important to understand the association of the income, the withdrawals, the 401k, the contribution, how much you can contribute, why you want to contribute, the tax association to it, and the risk that's associated to it. There's a big difference between risk tolerance and risk capacity. And when we look at risk tolerance and we look at risk capacity, there is a huge difference. Risk capacity is the amount of risk you need to take in order to achieve your objective. Risk tolerance refers to the level of risk a person is comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the crazy thing is, when you have a system, when you have a plan, like a good business owner who has a successful, stable, congruent growth business, they have that plan. You need to have a plan, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
You want a successful retirement, don't you? You want to understand the difference between risk capacity and risk tolerance. You need to understand your taxes, your investments, your insurance, and your estate planning all coming together in a system. That's why we're going to, for the next 10 callers, we will do a full-blown evaluation, because before you can have your plan, you need to know where you're at. You need to, before you go on a trip, you need to map it out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you need to take your resources into consideration first and foremost, just like every good business owner. What do I have? What do I need to do with it? Where do I go with it? That's why for the next 10 callers, we will do a full-blown financial evaluation for if you have $250,000 or more in your retirement account, your taxes, your investments, your insurance, and your estate planning. We will do an evaluation for you for free. We've seen people charge $1,000 for this. We will do it for free. We'll show it to you through our system, and we'll help you out.
And this is full blown. This is not a one page where that's where that they do charge some up to $1,000 for that. This is a full blown evaluation Ed is offering from himself and his team at the Wealth Training Academy, and this is for retirees and pre-retirees. And it's common sense planning, straight talk instead of financial double talk and a sales pitch, which is much better to have.
I'll warn you, if you don't like straight talk. We're not sales gimmicking around here. It's straight talk.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a plan too. It's not a pitch, and it's certainly not a product. 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030 for the next 10 full-blown evaluation, no cost or obligation, 800-563-7030. Ed, it is the Wealth Training Academy. You are loaded with information today. What is next?
The bull market is over. So now what? When we come back, what new retirees should know about retiring and how the bear market could affect them, and why a system is more important now than you might ever think.
And now a nightmare retirement consultation.
Yeah, no pain, no gain, right? No risk, no reward, right? We're going all risk, see? We're going to put everything you got in the market. You're going to love it.
Don't walk, run from that office and go to your future retirement partner with your best interest in mind and with a plan that's customized for your risk tolerance and that can help increase your financial confidence in retirement. That's Ed Storr at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. The Wealth Training Academy is the show every week in the conversation that we all have with Ed Storr of the Wealth Training Academy, the president of a company, a firm that is very turnkey. Ed has a team that handles tax, investments, insurance, Medicare, estate planning, all in the same office. And the Financial Wealth Shield is something that they employ. And we're going to talk a lot about this system that brings and really works in concert with taxes, investments, insurance, Medicare, estate planning, income protection, all the components of a successful retirement system. And the bull market is over. So, as you mentioned, and it was a good long run, 10-year bull market. We got the correction underway. It is hard to watch your 401k and other investments lose value. What can we do? Well, sequence of returns risk is what we're going to talk about a lot in this segment. What actually is that, Ed? Sequence of returns risk.
Sequence of return risk and sequence of risk. Basically, it analyzes the order in which your investment returns occur. It affects when you are periodically adding and or withdrawing money from your investments. In retirement, it can mean that you earn a much lower interest rate of return than you expect. This is why we here at the Wealth Training Academy have a problem with the 4% rule. That's why, first and foremost, we talk about the system and creating income, a budget. Everything that we talked about earlier really comes down to this important situation for retirees who are retiring in a recession and in the market being down the way it is. Because what happens is if you retire, and this is going, I hope everybody can kind of picture this with me. If you retire when the market is up and you're pulling 4% out, that's great. Mm-hmm. But if you retire when the market is down and you're pulling 4% out of your portfolio, then you will actually, especially if you have a couple of years where the market's down consistently, you will never make back those returns, even if you have higher years down the road. It's actually reversed dollar cost averaging.
Are you pulling too much out then in that case, at that snapshot in time?
Therein lies the problem. Is if you rely on the 4% rule and you have this basket of money for, let's just say, what the investment folks like to do is put all your money into one thing and say, okay, let's pull out 4%. That's great until interest rates drop. Hello.
Yeah.
And until the market goes down. Hello. Now you still need that percentage of whatever it is you need to live on. Remember that budget that we talked about in the beginning?
That's not going to change.
You have to have that budget. That's not going to change. But then the pull rate that you're pulling from your investments actually increases because the value of your portfolio is down, but your budget's still the same. So that's where that 4% rule just doesn't work, because now you have to start living on less, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Wait a second.
Yeah. Very cookie
because
cutter.
Now I have to start cutting things. We were goofing off, not goofing off, but we were talking about how to get into retirement, cut the expenses, cut this, cut that. But if all of a sudden that's what you're used to, that's what you're living, all of a sudden now you're in retirement,
right,
and you're giving up. When in retirement, that's when you're supposed to be enjoying your life. I can't share with you how much that we just don't believe in this. That's why guaranteeing income first, creating that income, understanding Social Security, understanding pensions, how much you can take from your pensions, how to take your pensions. Will my spouse have my pension? All those things that need to be evaluated and looked at. How do I take Social Security? When do I take Social Security? How do I maximize my Social Security? All that needs to be looked at. That's why we talked about in the very beginning of the show here today, we talked about how income is important, because once you create that income that will grow for inflation, then your other assets that you put off into different areas, and our system shows you how to do that, then you don't worry. Then you know you have income that's set up for you.
Yeah.
That's why older folks, well, come on, let's face it, the ones who are 80 and 90 today, they grew up with pensions. They had their incomes. They're not so much worried about the fluctuation over here on the other side. They're like, okay, well, I got plenty of income. Okay, that goes. Now they're going like, what do I have? How do I get it to grow to give to my kids? That's the conversations they're having. But we have to make sure that guaranteed income is there first and foremost. That's why I'm sharing with you the idea of this withdrawal rate and how you pull the money out, when you pull the money out, the sequence of return on the market. This 4% rule was designed by investment folks. They were not designed by overall wealth management people. They weren't. If you work with somebody who's worked in a family office, and again, if you don't know what a family office is, Google the family office. We have created that family office here for middle class America. And one of the first things they look at is income. Because if you have plenty of income and you know that income is set for you and it's designed for you and your spouse to take you to and through the retirement, you don't worry about the stock market. And that's when you start taking advantage of the market. And that's when you start looking at conversions. And that's when you start going, how do I minimize other situations, expenses such as taxes? So protecting yourself from that risk of taking money out in a down market, and maybe it's going to be 2 years that this market's down. We've seen this before. Look, I've been through 9/11. I've seen it down.
We've had three since 2000. So in 20 years, right? Three big.
So I've been in this industry 29 years. My team has been around for much more. I love it when people just say how many years and they combine everyone together. Oh, I've been around for 150 years.
Yeah, a combined experience of 552 years.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it. I've been here. I've lived it. My team, they're trained. They're designed. Everybody's specialized in how we do this. And again, income is one of the most important things. It is so important that with a recession that we're in and the down market that we're in, that you have to look at it's so important. You have to look at this. And I'm stuttering because I'm excited about this and how it needs to be looked at, but I'm also upset that I see constantly people will come to our office and they'll use this 4% rule. And when we start showing them how it really doesn't work in the system that they should be following, it's kind of eye-opening. Look, retirement doesn't have to be hard. It should be fun. It's hard when you don't have enough income. It's hard when you're following this 4% rule. It's hard when all your eggs are in one basket. It's hard when all your money's tied up in annuities and everything else like this. I'm not saying annuities are bad. They just have their place. They have to have a tool.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard when all your money's in the stock market. It's hard when you're worrying. But if you have a system and you take into consideration these rules, the rules of sequence of returns, the rules that we talked about, the risk earlier, the risk association, and the capacity for risk. When you have a system that looks at that and designs it, like a business that knows exactly what to do in a recession, a business knows how to take advantage of the declines because they built it into their game plan. They've built it into their
keyword plan, right?
Plan.
Keyword there.
You need to have that retirement plan, or I think people would want to have that retirement plan, but you have to have a system, because when you have that system, you don't worry. And that's what we're trying to show. Well, we'll just do this. Next 10 callers, we will show you our system. We will do an evaluation of your resources, okay? Because I'm talking, again, like a business. Mm-hmm. Your resources are your Social Security, your pensions, your investments, your taxes, your insurance, your estate planning. Those are your assets. Those are your itemized sheet that you need to look at for your retirement business. We'll evaluate those. We'll show you your expenses, your hidden fees. We'll show you how to lower your taxes. We'll help you figure all this out through our system, our wealth management system, our integrated wealth management system that takes into consideration your taxes and your investments, your insurance and estate planning. We'll do an evaluation for you for free. We've seen people in Greenville, South Carolina charge as much as $1,000 for this. We will evaluate all this for you for free. We'll show you our system and we'll show you how it can be plugged in. And then you don't have to worry.
Very nice. And I love the Financial Wealth Shield, because this system brings all the components together of retirement, building that successful retirement, and has them all working in concert, which makes it so great. It gives you a plan. I mean, it brings them all really working together as a team. Let's get that evaluation, a full-blown evaluation, by the way, to the next 10 from Ed Storer and his team at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030, and this is at no cost or no obligation to the next 10 callers. This is for pre-retirees and retirees, of course. Common sense planning, straight talk from Ed and his team, no financial double talk, no sales pitch, and Ed, employing the Financial Wealth Shield, can create that financial roadmap for you. And at the same time, the financial world is complicated. Maybe not for Ed, but for most people, me included. But Ed can translate into clear instructions for you. And that's all part of this full-blown evaluation. Take advantage of it. You have nothing to lose, no cost or obligation for the next 10. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. Yeah, I'm that guy that goes to Ed and said, help. I need help. And that's what Ed can do. Well, and of course, he does it every week, too, on this show, the Wealth Training Academy. What's up next, Ed?
Well, we've been answering some questions from our website, and I'd like to discuss a few with everybody this week.
When should I take my Social Security? How much risk can I tolerate? I'm afraid I'm overpaying in taxes. Did I save enough? I can't keep up with all these rules.
There are a lot of components to your retirement, and it certainly can seem overwhelming. It's time to establish a partnership with a professional who can provide you with a written plan, the proper strategies, and then be there with you along the way. That's Ed Storer at the Wealth Training Academy, 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. The Wealth Training Academy is the show, and every week it's great information, helpful information, vital information even about your retirement, what can be your retirement plan from Ed Storer, president of the Wealth Training Academy, your shield, your wealth coach. Ed and his team can be just that, a very turnkey firm they are, handling all the components of retirement, and that includes taxes, investments, insurance, Medicare, estate planning, all in the same office, all under the umbrella of the Wealth Training Academy. And he has a team there that can answer the questions that you have. And that's how we close out this show every week, with questions that you have submitted on the website, wealthtrainingacademy.com. Want to hear your question on the air? Just go to wealthtrainingacademy.com, click on the contact tab, and it's right there where you can submit your question. You may hear us reading it on the air, like this one from Simpsonville. Thanks for the question on the website. We're 62 and 67. Should we move our 401k money into a Roth IRA as we don't have longevity to recover huge losses due to coronavirus? We want to have access to the money with least penalties.
Should we move our 401k into a Roth IRA? I can't share with you that you should move it into a Roth IRA. However, you should move it into an IRA of some sort. Leaving money in a 401k after you have left, well, did they say whether they retired from there?
Actually, they didn't. Just their ages, and I'm they're very close to it. And the 667 one may be retired.
Yeah. Well, so if you're no longer working at your company, you should move your 401k. You should not leave your 401k there. Actually, 401ks are one of the most expensive investment vehicles out there. People are just not aware of it. Just Google hidden fees within inside your 401k, and you will see the plethora of hits sharing and telling you the expenses within inside your 401k. Should you move it to a Roth? It depends on your taxes. It depends on your investment risk. It depends on the cost of your Medicare. I don't know your income because everybody's Medicare expenses are different because of income. You can get into that Medicare penalties. So there's too many, again, there's so many different things that are associated to this one question that you have to evaluate and look at all your resources that you have available to you. So the first thing I would highly suggest to these people is first move your 401k to an IRA, sit down with a team of professionals, because you're going to need to know taxes if you move your money to a Roth. You're going to need to know how much your expenses are within the 401k before you even move it to an investment vehicle. And then you need to understand if one of you are 67 because you're already on Medicare, you need to understand how my income is going to affect my Medicare expense. And then you need to look at updating all your beneficiaries so that affects your estate plan.
You need to, in other words, the last you need to talk to Ed and his team. What do you think?
You need a team.
You need a team.
You need a team.
Well, you can
But every business owner has a team. They have the tax people, the investment people, the insurance people, and they have the attorneys. They have a team. That's what we're sharing here. You have to look at your retirement to and through retirement as a business, and every business has a team and a system. We'll be able to help you do that.
And Ed and his team can be your retirement business management team throughout, working with you on your retirement, and certainly not selling you a product. They're building a plan for you, like a business plan that you would need to start your business. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. Ed is answering questions that you have submitted to the website, wealthtrainingacademy.com. We have one from Greenville. I'd like to buy some stocks during this downturn in the market. I know if I choose right, it could really make my retirement comfortable. What are some good choices outside of Charmin and, Charmin. They didn't say that. I added
tissue
that.
Company out there. What are some good choices? Jenny, where are we? Greenville?
Greenville.
That's Greenville. That's a great question. What are some good choices? Everything's on sale right now. Depending on the type of person that you are, I would look at the healthcare and technology area. Diversifying your portfolio is probably one of the most important things right now. So understanding how the rest of your investments are set up would then help us decide what some good choices are. Because again, we talked about earlier control in an earlier part of our show today. You can control how you invest. Now, the thing is, some of the things that you're saying that you want to buy, you might already own. So for me to make a suggestion as to what you should be buying or what some good choices are is kind of difficult. However, technology is a good area. Healthcare is a good area. Let's face it, the world has changed, correct?
Definitely.
Everybody's now visiting their doctor through their phones and or computers. So anytime there is one door closing, there's another door opening. So look for the changes that are happening in and around you, and don't fear them. Take advantage of them. That's what I would suggest.
Great suggestion, too. One from Duncan. My 401k has dropped $31,000 in 3 weeks. Should I borrow some now to prevent bigger losses?
Should I borrow some now to prevent bigger losses?
Got a little spooked by that 31,000.
Yeah. That's an interesting question. Should I borrow some now to prevent some losses? Well, what is it that you're borrowing, I guess? Are you wanting to buy more? I'd ask this person who submitted this question to kind of give us a telephone call and kind of clarify.
Yeah.
Give us a call. Clarify what you're looking for. Should I borrow some now to prevent bigger losses?
I don't. I guess are they trying to borrow from the 401k?
I guess.
Yeah. So
maybe they want to borrow. Well, no, because then they wouldn't be adding. I don't know. Give us a call.
Yeah, you need to. You definitely need to call. Well, that's what's so great about every week. Ed offers no cost, no obligation consultations, evaluations, and then you can get a little more specific and have that. I mean, sometimes Ed, you need a little more information to give them a good answer for their question. All right, here's one from Powdersville. An IRA is being willed to me. If I inherit it before the age of 59 and a half, can I have it sent directly to my own IRA? What are the tax implications?
Well, first off, you cannot commingle inherited IRAs with your IRA. That is not allowed. The second thing is with the new rules and regulations, you have to take it out over 10 years. The tax implications, it depends. Being that you have to take all the money out over a 10-year period, you could take it all out at once, or you could take it out periodically, or you could wait till the end of the 10 years. I would highly suggest this person who is inheriting this IRA sit down with their tax professional or give us a call. We have tax professionals over here. We are the Tax Advisory Group. That is one of our names of our firms. We do tax evaluations. That's what we do. And we cut people's taxes. That's how we help. So give us a call before you decide to take any of this. But at least, first and foremost, if you aren't working with us, at least sit down with a tax professional, and they'll help you. Not as somebody who prepares taxes. You want to sit down with a tax professional on this one, an enrolled agent and or a CPA.
Well, great questions as always, and some leave you wanting more, Ed, and that's more information. So you really need to have a conversation with them. Absolutely.
And again, you got to look at your retirement as a business. You've got to have your taxes, your investments, your insurance, and your estate planning all working together in a congruent, integrated wealth management system. Look, this is your inventory. This is what you have in retirement. You want to go to and through retirement calmly, securely, relaxed. We can show you how through our wealth management system. We will do an evaluation of your resources. We'll show you how much taxes you're paying, how you can cut those taxes. We'll show you hidden fees and commissions built up with inside your investments. We'll show you the costs of your insurance. People paying way too much for insurance. We'll show you the proper way for your estate planning and passing it on. If you're a business owner, by the way, we'll show you how to do exit planning. You're going to exit eventually. You need to understand the tax ramifications of all that. For the next 10 callers, we'll do a full-blown evaluation for you. It will lead to an investment plan that you need to have, but you need to understand where you are first and foremost. We've seen people charge $1,000 for an evaluation. We will do it for free because of everything that's going on. If you have $250,000 or more in your retirement accounts, we'll show you how to cut your taxes, cut your investment expenses, show you how to save on insurance costs. We'll do a full-blown evaluation for free. We'll introduce you to our wealth management system.
And it's a great thing to have on your side in retirement. 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. And you can learn how Ed and his team can custom build that retirement plan for you. And a holistic plan it is with Ed and the Wealth Training Academy team, which includes the income plan, investments, taxes, health insurance, estate planning. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. This evaluation offered to the next 10 at no cost or obligation, and Ed will put himself and his team to work. He mentioned the team, the tax advisory group, investments made easy, insurance made easy, and essential estate planning, all coming under the umbrella of the Wealth Training Academy and working in concert, utilizing the Financial Wealth Shield, the financial wealth management system that does integrate all of the components that is offered by the Wealth Training Academy to build you a successful retirement business. Think of it that way. It's your retirement plan for the protection you need, the guaranteed income, and the lifestyle that you want in retirement. Next 10, no cost or obligation for this evaluation. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. Great show today, Ed. Good information.
Thank you. It was a good. Sorry, I got off on topic a little bit, but again, we want to really have people understand you have to have a system to go to and through retirement peacefully, relaxedly, stress-free, so you can enjoy that retirement.
I'm picturing someone in a hammock with a drink with an umbrella in it. That's the way it should be. Ed, I'll talk.
It should be.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you next week.
Take care. Be safe.
We'll see you next week right here on the Wealth Training Academy.
Insurance services offered through the Wealth Training Academy and Insurance Made Easy, LLC. Investment advisory services offered through Sophos Investment Incorporated, an SEC registered investment advisor. Sophos is not affiliated with the Wealth Training Academy or any other entity listed herein. The opinions in this commentary are those of the author and may not necessarily reflect those held by Sophos. This is for general information only and is not intended to provide specific investment advice or recommendations for any individual. It is suggested that you consult your financial professional, attorney, or tax advisor with regard to your individual situation. Comments concerning past performance are not intended to be forward-looking and should not be viewed as investment advice. Tax services are offered through the Wealth Training Academy and the Tax Advisory Group, LLC. Tax services offered are to help business owners and individuals create sound tax planning strategies that are custom suited to their individual needs and objectives.